Yo, what's going on everyone? Mike Hill, the Wholesaling Titan here, and in today's video, I'm going to be showing you the difference between an assignment of contract and a double closing when you're wholesaling real estate. So when you're wholesaling, looking to flip those houses, and especially flip those houses with little to no money, no credit, and no risk, you're going to be using one of these two primary techniques. Now, yes, there are other techniques out there. There are also different variations of the strategies I'm about to show you, but these are the basics, the big picture, and you're going to be using one of these two primary strategies like 90 to 95% of the time. So in typical no BS, no fluff fashion, let's go ahead and jump into the assignment. So we'll start with the assignment, and this is going to be the simpler of two. So we're going to start off, you have your motivated seller here. We're going to call that person A, and then you are going to be B as the wholesaler. All right, so what happens is you're going to go to this motivated seller and agree to purchase their property. You're going to sign a contract. And this is why assignments are often referred to as an A to B agreement. So what happens is when you sign this purchase agreement, let's say we agree to purchase the house for $100,000, this contract means that of the 8 billion people in the world, you are the only person who legally has the right to purchase that property. Now, what that means is that the contract is now a tangible asset. The contract are the rights to purchase the house. So now when you go and advertise it to an end buyer, so we have your end buyer here, you are not selling them a house. There is no property for you to sell. Instead, you are selling your rights to purchase the property. You're selling the contract. That is a tangible asset that gives you equitable interest. And so again, you are not selling a house. So if you agree with this end buyer to, they agreed to purchase the house for $110,000, what that means is that they are purchasing the contract for $100,000 and you are going to get $10,000. So what happens is at closing, you're going to send this document over to your title company, right? And the end buyer is going to wire in 110, and then it's complicated here. 100 is going to go to your seller, and 10 is going to go to you. It's very, very simple, but the main takeaway here is to realize that there is only one contract and you are not selling a property, you are selling your rights to purchase a property. Now, before we get to the double closing, which is slightly more complicated, a quick reminder to check the links in the description below where you can submit your questions for me to make future videos on. You can also register for my next live training and also take advantage of a free one-on-one call I'm currently offering where I'll show you how to do your next deal in as little as 30 to 45 days. So now let's go ahead and take a look at how double closings work. So now let's take a look at a double closing. Couple more steps here, a little more complicated, but we're going to start off again. We're starting with our motivated seller A. Here you are here, your wholesaler B. And the process starts off the same. You are going to approach your motivated seller, come to a mutually beneficial agreement, and you're going to sign a purchase contract to purchase this house, again, let's say for $110,000. Now, some contracts, for a number of reasons, may not be assignable. There may be a couple of other reasons why a double closing is preferential, and we'll talk about those in a moment, but you're not allowed to assign. So what you're going to do now is you're signing this contract, and then you have your end buyer. So in this case, we're going to call the end buyer C. All right, so A to B here. And then this is what, it's two parts here. So now you are still B, this is you, same person here. And instead you're going to agree to sell this to your end buyer for 110. The difference here is that previously we only had one contract and we were selling our rights to that contract. We were selling our rights, to purchase that property. Now what's going to happen is we are going to actually purchase this property for $100,000 and we are going to own it. We are going to close on the property and we are going to temporarily own it, albeit maybe for 5 minutes. Then what's going to happen is we are going to sign a separate contract. So in a double closing, there are two contracts. We are going to sign a contract with our end buyer because now we are the owner of this property and we're going to go ahead and sell the property to this end buyer. So in a double closing, as the name implies, there are two contracts. So the next question is, well, how am I going to purchase this contract if I don't have $100,000? And that's where transactional funding comes in. So here's how transactional funding works and what's going to happen on the day of the closing. So you're going to take your initial contract, your A to B, you're going to send it to your title company. You're going to send the B to C contract to your title company. Remember, there are two different contracts here. And what's going to happen is you're going to have a transactional funder. And this is someone who's going to loan you the money. So on the day of closing, they are going to send in, they're essentially giving you $100,000, but you won't touch it. It's actually going to go to your title company, and that's going to allow you to close on the property, and that's how you're going to temporarily own this. So once you own it, you are then going to sell it obviously to your end buyer for 110 in a separate transaction. At that point, you will give your transactional funder back their $100,000 plus whatever percentage they're charging you. Now, typically you're going to want to pay 1%, so I highly recommend that you use someone local. There are funders that fund nationally. Typically, they tend to charge more. Oftentimes, they're charging 2%. There are certain states where 2% is typically the standard, like California, for example. But ideally, you want to do your research. You can ask your title company for recommendations. You want to look for about 1%. So what that means is you're going to give them back $100,000 that they loaned you for, 5 minutes. And then you're going to give them back 101. That 1% is going to be their fee, and you would make 9K. Now, it's actually not 9K because you will be paying the closing costs here, so it's going to be typically a little bit less than that. Maybe 7.5 would be your profit. Depends on the property. Depends on how much your closing costs come to, but essentially you're just borrowing that money so that you can go ahead and complete the transaction. Also, just to clarify, yes, they are lending you that $100,000, but you're never actually touching that money. What happens is, and this is why transactional funders are comfortable, is they're going to get the green light from the title company. And the title company is going to say, okay, the paperwork is good, we're good to go. They're going to wire this $100,000 into your title company, and then your title company is going to process this A to B transaction. Then right after that, they're going to go ahead and do the second closing, 110, and then again, that money all goes straight from your end buyer here, see, goes straight to the title company, and then the title company will disperse the funds. So they'll give back your funder $100,000 plus the 1%, and then you will get your profit. So again, it's going to be 9K, but minus those closing costs that you're going to pay. So that's a brief overview of how these two closing techniques work. And the next question I usually get is, well, which one should you use? When should you assign and when should you double close? Like, what are the pros? What are the cons? Which one is better? And there are pros and cons to each, and I'll actually be walking you through those in detail in my next video, at which time I'll add a thumbnail or card somewhere on the screen. Might be here now, depending on when you're watching this. So stay tuned. Please be sure to subscribe and turn your notifications on so you don't miss out on the next video. And remember to check out those links so you can, one, attend my next live webinar where I'll be giving you the step-by-step process of how to do your next deal, as well as some brand new techniques and resources that are working really well right now that I haven't talked about here before. And if you're really serious about virtually guaranteeing that you're successful in this business, be sure to sign up for that one-on-one call. Spaces are limited each week. The call is completely free. I'm going to talk to you for about 45 minutes. We'll review what you're currently doing and where you're getting stuck, and I'll give you a solid plan on what you should be doing to best move forward. Also, if you're interested in mentorship, this is the only way to join my one-on-one program. So, I want to make sure it's a good fit for both of us. We can discuss different options depending on how much support you need, but there's no obligation here. So go ahead and click that link, and I will talk to you soon. Thanks again for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video. All right? Peace.